Okay, for this video, instead of just locating one part, we're going to use the PatMax 1 to 10 tool to locate multiple parts. So I'm going to go to locate part, PatMax patterns 1 to 10. I'm going to put the model around one of the parts because it needs to understand what one part is. We're not going to put it around all of them. I'm going to set my search region to look everywhere for it. Okay, you'll see it comes up just looking for one. I'm going to call this find parts. And under settings, I'm going to tell it how many parts it's looking for. So 4 parts. And I'm going to check, does it work? Okay, it's stopping working on these 3. Why? Because the rotation tolerance by default is set to 15 degrees plus or minus. I'm going to set it to 180 because I just want to detect them wherever they show up. So that's pretty simple. So it's found all the parts. Now, how do we use this? It's found the parts, but it's not really doing any inspection on them. Previously, for one part, I showed how to make a measurement track around a part. So let's do that. Same thing. Pick this distance and I fix up the boxes a little bit. And for distance, I'm going to call this part 1 distance. Okay. And let's see, does it follow it around? Sure does. Okay. Now I'm going to do another distance because you see it's not automatically multiplying out to do the other parts. So I'm going to have to say this is the second part. I think it is. From here to here. I'll get into more detail on another video how to set up this measurement. Now, if I started going through, is this going to work? Not really. It's not tracking this, is it? It's all based on part 1 still. So under here, for these edges, you're going to see something called tool fixture. And it's looking at fixture, which is part 1. This would be part 2, part 3, part 4. Why are they named different? Because this, you can imagine, starts with a 0. It's an array, and it's indexed based on 0 rather than 1 starting. So this would be for part 2. And I'm going to pick the other edge, edge 3, and I'm going to set that to fixture 1, which is for part 2. And let's see if that is part 2. Oh, it must not be because it went to the wrong spot. Okay, let's try this one actually. Okay. All right, let's go back to the beginning. I guess it was this part. Okay, that's funny because I did this before and it was picking another fixture. Okay, so it seems to be following one of the parts. It is fixture 2. That means it's part 3. So I'm going to, under this distance, I'm going to say part 3 distance. And I would just do the same thing for the other parts. So let's try right here. I already know I'm going to have to change the fixture, and I'm going to assume this is part 2, so it's going to be fixture 1. Again, I don't think they have any feedback to say which one is this that we're looking at. So it's kind of a bit of playing with it to see is it following it correctly. So there we go. We're measuring 3 parts. This would be part 2, distance, and I'm sure you know what we have to do for part 4. Okay, so there's how you set up a PatMax for multiple parts. And then you got to know that whatever you're doing for one part, you're going to have to copy out and do the same thing for each individual part.